All right, it is all yours if you'd like to start your intro. And here he is. Look at that.
Hi, sorry
Great.
about that.
You're good. You're good.
All good. So thank you so much for presenting this opportunity for Jackson and I to share a little bit of what we did in one class that is an ongoing class, multiple terms. So we just want to, thank you for the opportunity to share this beyond the SUNY New Paltz, with the broader SUNY community. Actually, this past week, Jackson and I also have presented this to faculty development centers here at SUNY New Paltz and have shared it with some faculty in our community as well. So we are very, very thankful to take this opportunity to walk through kind of what our experience was and what our intentions were, and would love to hear feedback and insights and any other sharings, because we want to contribute to a lens or a perspective and pedagogy as we all grow together, and especially with the emergence of generative AI. So overall, I wanted to start with just a couple comments and framework. I always think about, if I'm coming in front of colleagues in the industry and higher education, but also as peers, I believe that one of the best steps is to just share sort of a teaching statement, or at least a slice thereof. And I do believe that learning, like Thich Nhat Hanh has said, needs to be followed by reflection and practice in order for it to be true learning. I do think that this is comparative in a sense to experiential learning that has the solid foundation of concrete experience or concrete practice, then with reflection, and then any adjustment or iteration thereof as a follow-up to that. I do want to emphasize that part of my philosophy is trying to shift from even experiential with hands-on to a form of operational learning as the form of practice. So some of the key thoughts are, if we are going to model a work environment in a school of business for this type of class, and we'll get into that, then learning would be more iterative over time, just like with those solutions being developed through practice in a business environment. And also, reflection is important, I think, as a form of experimentation, that anytime we deal with frustrations, we have to work through that together. And a lot of this foundation is based on, yes, I completely honor and want to support student individual achievement. But in this case, what we're also trying to test is the team achievement as a future form of entrepreneurship education. And that student individual achievement is within that approach and that method and that pedagogy. So I think practice is a huge form of contribution and test in this environment with this kind of class with digital tools and generative AI. Just to get into the concretes to set the tone for, as Jackson walks through kind of the workflow, the experience, the spectrum of tools, and I think also the generation of new products and new ventures, that, just so you know, the frame and the form of this class where we are testing this, it's a 400 level course that's being taught in the School of Business. It is called Social Entrepreneurship. And there, like I said, there's team formation as a part of entrepreneurship students and management students that have a required course as a part of their curriculum. That being said, I think, there is literature that's more broad than just this one course on the word required for entrepreneurship and management. There's a field of study and research called compulsory entrepreneurship education, CEE, if anyone is interested in that line of thought or line of study. And essentially, it's trying to understand if there are courses in entrepreneurship that are required as a part of an undergraduate, for example, education, what does the achievement continue to look like and what are the competencies continue to look like post education upon graduation, and how does that differ or compare, or how is that similar and informative if the courses are not required in entrepreneurship? Things like growth mindset and tenacity and other forms of soft interpersonal social emotional competencies. What I'd like to continue to test through this model is, what do competencies of team and operations look like, and mapping to skills and those competencies in the workforce. So that is another piece of this framework that Jackson was a part of with other students. Within this structure, we focused social entrepreneurship, meaning factoring environmental, social, and governance ideas and needs that are in the market or in our communities. ESG factoring, I first discovered while advising corporate-based and Wall Street-based firms in New York City, where they were using the language of factoring companies on a stock market, for example, based on ESG elements. So for example, if Target has a 2030 or 2040 or 2050 plan to reduce emissions, that would be one factor of them being graded based on the ESG elements within that. So now if we thought about, for example, social being learning and education in communities, or environmental, obviously, with emergence of climate change and trends towards that, how do students begin to generate new ideas based on this? And to my earlier comments about team formation and team achievement, Jackson will talk a little bit more about what team he was on and how that was a part of intra-communications across the 16 to 18 weeks of the course. But just to share that a little bit, I think that modeling a real-time work environment where the student is leading these team formations and deliverables is vital to also learning and owning kind of the emergence of digital tools and AI as we grow as a faculty and a student body. So then also, I think this last slide is really just important to qualify part of the experience of this student-led and peer-led sort of course and their discovery each week and their responsibilities, is to say that I planned some of the use of Gen AI, generative artificial intelligence, and here is what you're seeing was planned, for example, in the syllabus, or more broadly to my other, largely syllabi across other courses. However, given that it's student-led discovery, Jackson, I think, will talk about the other bookend of this. Yes, thank you, Professor, for planning these things. We only decided to use maybe a portion of them, plus a whole set of other digital tools and Gen AI tools as a part of this, which happily, I'd like to report, was an intention, and I'm so happy that as a result that you'll see there was a lot of student-led management as a part of this process. So I'll leave it over to Jackson. Just one note here. He has interned and worked at major corporations like Target and Walgreens. He has recently accepted an executive team lead position at Target to help lead some of their stores in a region. So I think that modeling a work environment, he might also reflect on kind of how moving forward this might help, or how it's given him maybe some new perspective with that as well. So Jackson, over to you, and you'll run most of this moving forward. Just give me a shout if you need me to move to the next slide.
Oh, thanks, Professor. So I'm gonna go a little bit into the experience I had during this and kind of give like a rundown of what that looked like for the student. Basically 15 weeks ago when we started this class in August, it looked a little bit different. We each individually were creating teams, or not teams. We each were individually creating an idea, a social entrepreneurship idea that we had, and we kind of developed that over about 5-week period, which we then pitched to our entire class. At the end of those final pitches, we all collectively came together and voted on which two ideas we thought had the most promise or which two ideas we liked the best. And we ended up choosing homeless pods and a hydroponic system. From moving past that, we decided to frame the class kind of as a team activity where we were all working together on these two ideas and not splitting them up. And we created 4 different teams based on the skill set of each individual member. The communications team, the finance team, the operations team, and the marketing team, which I was a part of. Each week we went and prepared each on our own individual teams. On Mondays, which were reserved for class, we actually ended up using more of a hybrid model. But on that Monday during class, we would go and we would meet with the communications team, which consisted of Professor P and one of our classmates, Selena. And we kind of used them as a resource for what our vision was. And they kind of provided us with resources on what would be most beneficial for us. Then on Thursdays, we would meet all together and we would kind of share with the rest of the team what we had been working on for the past week. You can go to the slide. So now I'm going to show you one of the first exercises we did as the marketing team. So basically, this is what we call a brand sprint. We used this to kind of develop the vision of our team to start the marketing plan. And what better way to start than what does our company do? So the way we ran this exercise was that we opened the slide up to everybody, and each person had their own sticky note. Each team had a different color. And we asked them what in their eyes, what does our company do? What do they want us to do? And you can see we kind of came to a common consensus on this one, on, create housing solutions for homeless people. But it was, we wanted to frame our marketing plan as more of a democracy. We wanted to bring the vision of our entire team to life. And I think that this was the best way to start. Another slide that we did with our brand sprint was creating the personality of the brand. As you can see, we also had some commonality with certain aspects of the personality, but sometimes we vary a little bit on our opinions on it. But we used this again as kind of how our team wanted us to market each individual brand. So after we kind of did those exercises and we got a good gauge of how the class wanted to frame everything, we went with the actual problem statement. We actually defined what the problem statement was, which was housing insecurity and food insecurity. We thought that those two were two issues that the U.S. is facing right now that we felt the most passionate about, and we thought we could, with our ideas, really help. So now you're probably wondering where AI comes into this. So we used a multitude of different AI platforms in the making and developing of our brand. I've seen a lot in this past several years, AI kind of be synonymous with cheating or laziness. And I thought the same thing for a while, until actually this class when we started using AI with building this brand. And I've realized that AI can also be a really helpful tool with sparking inspiration, creating new ideas, challenging existing views. And I'm just going to show you a little walkthrough of one of the AI platforms we use, Brandmark.io. So we use this one to create the logo to our company. Me and Liel, my partner Liel, who was also on the marketing team, we aren't graphic designers. We're not very experienced with this, so this was actually a real help for us. So the way we started was you just put in the name of your brand. We chose for this example FloraBox, which was the hydroponic system. The next part we put in were the keywords that we wanted associated with our brand. A couple examples in there were plant, green, etc. The next thing they do is it spews out a couple different, or actually multiple different color styles that we got to choose between. We ended up going with more of a greener vibe. We felt like that kind of fit FloraBox the best in our vision. And then it creates about 20 different logos for you. Here's are just a couple examples of what our prompt created. And what's really cool about this one in particular is that to obtain the rights to the logos that it creates, it only costs $25, which is really great for new and developing businesses. I think especially as being a business major, I've seen a lot of my classmates start entrepreneurship during their entrepreneurship journeys, and they don't have huge budgets to spend 250, 300, sometimes $800 on paying a graphic designer. So I think this is a really great resource for those new ventures. Another cool thing that it creates is as a company kit, like branding ideas, and a branding guide for that company. So next I'm kind of going to show you a little bit about the operations team. So the way they started was with prototyping is they created their own prototype with their hands. As you can see, it looks like they used just little small boards. So yeah, that was the first prototype that they kind of displayed to us. Then we moved also back into a couple different digital platforms. They used AI to kind of create and spark a vision for what they kind of wanted to make the homeless pods look like. Those are a couple ideas. Our operations team also used a couple different platforms, unconventional platforms, that I thought were pretty cool. They used Minecraft to kind of create like a 3D virtual walkthrough prototype of the pods and what they wanted to look like, which like I said was pretty unconventional, but I thought was pretty cool. So now I'm going to move back over to the marketing side. So back a couple weeks in when we were really starting the marketing journey, Professor P told us that he wanted us to make a website, which was a little bit scary for me at first. I'd never made a website before. I didn't really know what went into it. I didn't tell him that. But me and my partner Liel, we go to each other, we're like, we don't even know where to start with this. So we tried a couple different things, and we eventually went into our Monday sync with Professor P and Selena and the communications team, and they kind of provided us resource, the website Framer, which does utilize AI, but not in the way where it made the website for us. It kind of allowed us to use these colors that we used for the website were used for a reason. They are the direct colors that our team used for the logo. The one that they voted on, we came to the agreement that we thought that was the colors we really wanted to use. And yeah, so that was this website is the final product, and it took us several weeks to get there, but we did it.
Jackson, just the only thing so that we don't miss it, there's 3 columns represented for web, meaning website on the internet, for mobile, which is the middle, and then a third is kind of any other format that we could push it to, so that it's web, mobile,
I think it was tablet, the third one, or the second one was tablet. And here's the other example of our other venture, which was FloraBox. We decided to go with the green to kind of match the color that we were looking for. We were recently informed that it's not accessible. So this would probably be something that we changed. But yeah, that was the final design that we had. So here are a couple of the different digital and AI platforms we used throughout the 4 different teams. In the beginning, we were kind of given the like Professor P said, the communications team gave us a couple different resources. Some of them were listed here. But we realized that not all of them worked for us. And Professor P and Selena, who were on the communications teams that kind of led us, they were really good about letting us, kind of venture and experiment on our own and not using the ones that didn't work for us. One particular example that I'm going to use is we started off using the platform Slack, which is a messaging platform that's used by a lot of businesses right now. I had experience with it due to an internship that I did in the summer of my sophomore year, but a lot of my other classmates had never used it before. And we kind of realized a couple weeks in that it didn't really work for us that well, and kind of expanded onto other messaging platforms. And that was just kind of one example of how we kind of got to lead our own and create our own kind of business.
It's like an ecosystem of tools.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple insights that I had and learnings that I had that I think were super beneficial to me personally was working through frustration. Like I said, the website took a lot of trial and error. We presented that website probably 5-6 times throughout the semester. And it could be really frustrating sometimes because it took us a really long time to do and build. And like I said, we did use AI for it, but the AI didn't create the website for us. All of those colors, all of the way it was structured, that was all us. The AI just kind of gave us a basic layout. And what was really frustrating about it sometimes was we'd present the website and we would hear from some of our classmates, their feedback would be, oh, I don't really like that picture there. I don't really like that color there. Maybe we should fix the font there. And we'd go and we fix it and we bring it back. And they'd be like, oh, actually, I don't really like that one either. We'd bring it back. Oh, how about actually, I think we should go back to the original. And that could be really frustrating sometimes. But I realized that it shouldn't be frustrating, and it is trial and error. And sometimes the vision that we have isn't the vision that everybody else has. And that was part of the democratic process that we tried to implement. And I think that will be great experience and learning and traits that I'll have going into the work world in just a couple months. Yeah, I'm going to throw it back to you, Professor P, unless you have anything to add.
Great. Yeah, I'd like to just wrap up. I know that we have a little bit more time, but we want to, take any questions and create dialogue. But, based on our reflection, Jackson and myself, we just wanted to cover some last things and maybe, present 1 or 2 other points of dialogue. But as a result of this course in the fall of 2023, FloraBox that Jackson walked through as one of the 2 ventures was awarded an NSF Innovation Corp or I-Corp winner cohort program award that Sarah, who ran that venture as from idea through those teams, participated in that program. And according to the dean of the School of Business, at that time of award, there was the first NSF-backed grant, especially I-Corp, for the I-Corp program that the School of Business won relative to this sense of innovation and using AI tools. They have since been awarded the 2nd place award in the New York State Business Plan competition, and they'll be participating in the finals. I believe it's next week. Also, currently in the spring, we're testing the same sort of spectrum of tools and workflows, but with an existing company, not creating new ventures, but applying the same workflows. For example, brand development, and product development to Harvest, which is an eco-transportation ship vessel that's operational in the Hudson River. So the student teams are using their operational learning to be a consultant, but in a new way, especially with advanced cutting edge Gen AI tools. And these are just some proposals to consider. I do think that the School of Business and SUNY New Paltz and maybe others have an opportunity to embed and implement more student-led operational learning to prepare students for, real-time work environment using these type of digital and Gen AI tools. So just an overarching kind of thought here, in addition to some of the others that we presented, I think it would be quite amazing actually to move the student-led experience earlier in the process and have students co-develop curricula, especially where there is Gen AI, from step one, as opposed to, maybe just having the faculty member consult and use expertise, which is vital. But is there an opportunity for some courses or one course to do that in a co-development capacity with students involved? And then imagine the outcomes of a course like this, even that has tried to test it from day one to week 16 to 18, depending on how long your structure of courses is. So I'm going to stop the share now, and we'd love to welcome and open it up to dialogue for anyone else that has questions. So thank you, Jackson, and thank you to others for listening.
Very exciting project. Do you have any experience using Marvel for prototyping?
Marvel?
I actually do. Last semester I used Marvel for one of my classes. I'm blanking on the name. Intro to Entrepreneurship. And we used it to build like a prototype of an app. We each were split into teams, and our final project was creating an app that we thought it's like an all life app. So we kind of had to create that, and we used Marvel to create the prototype for that.
Oh, thank you. I was just curious because you talked about the woes of having to go back and reconfigure your website and then go back again. So I thought maybe that would be a good solution. But what sounds like such a great project. That's so exciting. Congratulations. And thanks for your answers.
Yes, thank you. And Mary Jo, just a quick comment on that. I think the implementation of design thinking and systems thinking was very important. So one of the maybe philosophical elements in my approach is that I'd like to argue that humans, and in this case students, are better than AI with everything. So the iteration and the prototyping design thinking process is very important, and I was willing to sacrifice some speed potentially for that learning process. But we're always looking for ways to implement new tools to accelerate. Are there any other questions or points of dialogue? Or comments or thoughts?
Well, congratulations, Jackson. That's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Lena, I'll give it back to you if you have any closing comments, or you have to inform others of any other sessions.
Okay.
Just once again, we're so thankful for the time to present this, and we hope it helps others think through this approach.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Wow. We are tickled pink. Thanks for presenting today. I'm going to stop the recording and remind everyone that we have a few minutes for lunch, and then our next session begins